Hello students, today we will learn that what is Bernoulli's theorem and we will derive the Bernoulli's equation, and also we will learn that what is the significance of head. Head is a concept which is included in the Bernoulli's equation, so we will also understand what is the significance of head. So first of all we will learn that in which cases we can apply the Bernoulli theorem. Okay, Bernoulli's theorem is particularly applicable on a fluid flow, means some fluid is flowing through some system, fluid is entering to the system and outgoing from the system. Okay, so fluid flow is executing, and it can be more precisely applicable in case the fluid is liquid. Okay, we can apply the Bernoulli's theorem on a fluid which is gas or vapor, but in that case the level of accuracy of applicability of Bernoulli's theorem is less compared to that of in case we are applying the Bernoulli's theorem on liquids. Okay, so Bernoulli's theorem is particularly applicable on a fluid flow. Some fluid is entering inside the system with some mass flow rate and then coming out of the same system with the same mass flow rate. Remember, we can only apply Bernoulli's theorem in case the mass flow rate which is entering inside the system is exactly equal to the mass flow rate which is going out of the system. Here mass flow rate is in regards of the mass flow rate of fluid for which the Bernoulli's theorem we are applying. Second thing is, Bernoulli's theorem is based on law of conservation of energy. Second thing is, Bernoulli's theorem is particularly based on law of conservation of energy. We know that what is law of conservation of energy? Law of conservation of energy says that energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. Okay, and strictly speaking, Bernoulli's theorem is based on law of conservation of mechanical energy. How? That we'll learn at the last of this lecture. By now, just learn this thing that in general, Bernoulli theorem is applicable on a fluid flow, preferably liquid, provided that mass flow rate which is entering inside the system is equals to the mass flow rate which is going out of the system, and it is based on law of conservation of energy. The third condition for applicability of Bernoulli's theorem is there must be no energy loss or generation of energy within the system when flow is executed. Means when the fluid is flowing through the system, okay, then there must be no any sort of loss of energy or any sort of development or generation of energy inside the system. Then only we can apply the Bernoulli theorem. Okay, so all those processes, all those factors which leads to loss of energy and all those factors which leads to development or generation of energy inside the system must be absent when we are applying the Bernoulli's theorem. And the fourth condition is the flow must be fully translational. There must be no rotational motion happening with the flow. For example, see, this is the pipe. Okay, so fluid is entering from this inlet and ultimately coming out from the other end. So you can see that when flow is happening, then there are some rotational motions happening with the mass of fluid which is flowing through this pipe. This must not happen. Okay, so when flow is executing, it must be fully translational. No rotational component must be there in the flow. The reason is that when rotational motion happens, then some amount of energy gets accumulated in form of rotational energy. So the flow must be fully translational. There must be no rotational component in the flow. Now next is, suppose there is a tank and we are considering the wall of the tank. Suppose this is the portion of wall which I am showing by the arrow. This gray colored entity is the wall of the tank, and in the wall of the tank there is a hole, okay, through which some liquid is coming out. Okay, so over there, if liquid is coming out, definitely some force is applied over the liquid. Suppose at that hole, at that orifice, the pressure is P and the area of orifice is A. Okay, so due to that pressure, the fluid is coming out in form of jet, you can see. Okay, so suppose the length of jet which comes out in particular amount of time is D. D is the length of that jet. Okay, definitely the cross sectional area of jet will almost remains equals to the cross sectional area of this orifice. The area of cross section will remain the same with same cross sectional area throughout. D length of liquid or the fluid has come out. Okay, now let's find out that how much work is done in this process. Pressure over that orifice is P and over there area is A. We know this thing that work done equals to force into displacement. So the force applied to push the fluid out of this orifice would be equals to the pressure into area, because force equals to pressure into area. Okay, but this is area. This is the area of orifice. Okay, so area of this orifice into this length of this jet can be written as volume, because area of base into the height or length is what volume is. So ultimately work done can be written as pressure into volume. Remember always that area of base into corresponding length is the volume of the geometrical shape. So once again, suppose the pressure over that orifice is P and area over there is A. So P into A is the applied force. Due to that applied force, suppose D amount of jet comes out from that orifice. So force into displacement is what work done is. So P into A is the force, into displacement is D, but area into this displacement can be written as volume. So work done equals to pressure into volume. Now next is, suppose there is a pipe. Now we are going to apply Bernoulli theorem. This is a pipe. Okay, this is the inlet end of pipe and this is the exit end of the pipe. Okay, you can see that inlet end is of a smaller diameter in which the fluid will enter, and the outlet end is of greater diameter through which the fluid will come out. Okay, now suppose this pipe is taken as a system. Okay, and fluid, suppose liquid is entering inside the system and ultimately coming out from the other end, and the volume flow rate remains constant. Okay, means the amount of fluid which is entering inside in terms of volume is exactly equal to the amount of volume which is coming out of this pipe. Okay, however, I must say mass flow rate. I told you that the condition for applying the Bernoulli theorem is that mass flow rate in is equals to the mass flow rate out. Since for liquids the mass and volume are analogous, means more volume is there, more mass is there, because in liquids the density just doesn't changes. Okay, so we can say that for the case of liquids, if mass flow rate in is equals to the mass flow rate out, then definitely the volume flow rate which is going in must be equal to the volume flow rate which is going out. Suppose the volume flow rate which is going in is Q and the same is coming out. So over here, suppose the when fluid is entering, then pressure suppose over here is P1. Okay, and the cross sectional area of this hole of this entry is A1. Okay, definitely the work done to make the liquid to go inside the system, in case we are considering this pipe as a system, then work done to push the fluid to go inside the system is P1 V1, which we have already discussed in this slide. So P1 V1 is the amount of work done input to the system. Okay, this we are inputting. Now when the fluid is exiting, then the pressure over there is P2. Okay, so with pressure P2, the fluid is pushed out of the system, because over here fluid is going out. So over there net work done associated would be P2 into V2. P2 is the pressure over there and V2 is the volume. Okay, now what is the net work which is accumulated inside the system? In case we are taking this section of pipe as a system, the net work accumulation would be the amount of work which we are inputting minus the amount of work which is going out of the system. Definitely, because over here work is going out of the system and over this inlet end work is done on the system. So the net amount of work which is accumulated inside will be the balance, that is equals to W1 minus W2, that is equals to P1 V1 amount of work input minus P2 V2 which is going out of the system. So P1 V1 minus P2 V2 is the net work accumulated inside the system. But we know this thing that V1 equals to V2 equals to Q, because we can only apply Bernoulli theorem in case the volume flow rate entering inside is exactly equal to the volume flow rate which is going out. Okay, so since the volume flow rate is going inside is Q as well as coming out is also Q, so we can write this, the net balance work is equals to P1 minus P2, and this Q is common because V1 equals to V2, that is equals to Q. Okay, now we know this thing that this is volume flow rate in meter cube per second. Okay, now in case we want the volume flow rate into mass flow rate, what is the equation? Simple. In case volume is multiplied with the density, we will get the mass. So in case we want to write the volume flow rate in terms of mass flow rate, definitely that m is the mass flow rate, m equals to rho into q. So q equals to what? M by rho. Here rho is the density of the liquid. Okay, so in place of q I can write this. So this del w equals to P1 minus P2 into m by rho is the net amount of work which we are inputting to this entire system, and the system is what? This section of pipe. Now suppose that when the fluid is entering inside this pipe at the inlet, the velocity is c1 and the height of this inlet point is z1 from the reference. This is the reference line. From that reference lines, the height of this inlet is z1 units, and velocity when it is entering inside at the inlet of this pipe is c1 units. Similarly, when the fluid is exiting, okay, then this exit end is at z2 height from the reference, and the exit velocity is c2. Now this P1 minus P2 into m by rho is the net work input to this system. This section of pipe is taken as system. So now at the exit the velocity of fluid is c2, at the inlet the velocity of fluid is c1. Okay, it means there is change in kinetic energy. Okay, so that change in kinetic energy equals to how much? mc2 square by 2 minus mc1 square by 2. Okay, so from where the kinetic energy increment is happening, this kinetic energy increment is due to this work done itself, because energy conserved. Similarly, this exit end is at height z2 and this inlet end is at height z1. So there is a change in potential energy also, and that change in potential energy equals to how much? mgz2 minus mgz1. So this change in energy, which I have written in the RHS, this entire change in energy is happening due to whatever energy which has been input to the system. So P1 minus P2 into m by rho must be equals to the change in kinetic energy of the fluid, that is equals to mc2 square by 2 minus mc1 square by 2, plus change in potential in the fluid, that is equals to mgz2 minus mgz1. Okay, now you can easily see that in this equation we can cancel m both the sides. Okay, so ultimately our equation is this: P1 minus P2 into 1 by rho equals to C2 square by 2 minus C1 square by 2 plus GZ2 minus GZ1. Now after arrangements, the equation finally culminates with P1 by rho G plus C1 square by 2G plus Z1 equals to P2 by rho G plus C2 square by 2G plus Z2. This is what Bernoulli's equation is, and this entire concept is Bernoulli's theorem. The principle is very simple. Whatever work we are inputting to a system through which some fluid is flowing, and the volume flow rate of fluid going in must be equal to the volume flow rate which is coming out. So this is the work input that is utilized for rise in kinetic energy of the fluid plus rise in potential energy of the fluid. Okay, this is rise in kinetic energy, this is rise in potential energy, because energy is conserved. So we can see over here that Bernoulli theorem is based on law of conservation of energy. Secondly, we can see over here that we are talking only in regards of mechanical energy. Here we are not accounting the heat energy content and other types of energy content. So strictly speaking, Bernoulli theorem is based on law of conservation of mechanical energy, which means that one form of mechanical energy can be transformed into another form of mechanical energy. However, the magnitude of the energy remains constant. Now this is Bernoulli's equation: P1 by rho G plus C1 square root 2G plus Z1 equals to P2 by rho G plus C2 square root 2G plus Z. Okay. Now the question is, what is the unit of these terms P by rho G and C square root 2G in general? However, there is subscript use 1 and 2, those are for inlet and exit condition, but in general we can take it as P by rho G, C square root 2G, and this is Z. Okay, so what is the unit of C square by 2G or P by rho G? It's very simple. See, over here Z is unit of what? Length, because what is Z? Z is the datum height. This is the reference line. So Z2 is the height of this exit end from this reference line, and Z1 is the height of this inlet end from this reference line. So Z has dimension of length. Then definitely C square 2G and P by rho G must also have the dimensions of length. The reason is that in case we are adding two physical quantities, then their units must be same. It is a rule of physics that when we are adding or subtracting two physical quantities, the units must be same, and you can check this thing by the help of dimensional analysis also. What is the dimension of C square by 2G? C over here is the velocity and G is the acceleration due to gravity, and you can also check the dimensions of P by rho G. P is pressure, rho is the density, and G is the acceleration due to gravity. You will get the dimensions of length for both these terms. Okay, now P by rho G in general called as pressure head. okay, can be denoted by hp. C square by 2g in general called as kinetic head and can be denoted by hk, and z itself is the datum head. Okay, the z itself is a symbol called as datum head. So what ultimately we are getting, that the pressure head plus kinetic head plus datum head at inlet is equals to the pressure head and kinetic head and datum head at exit. Okay, now the question is that at last we are culminating with the fact that total head at inlet when the flow is executing is equals to total head at exit, but head's dimension is dimension of length, and in the beginning I told that Bernoulli's theorem is based on law of conservation of energy. So here what it is appearing, that it is based on conservation of length, what it is appears to be by this equation, but the fact is different. See, in case we multiply mg both the sides of this equation, m is the mass flow rate and g is the acceleration due to gravity, okay, then what we will get over here, mg into this LHS side of equation, P1 by rho g plus C1 square by 2g plus Z1, and mg to this RHS side of this equation, P2 by rho g plus C2 square by 2g plus Z2. Now when mg is multiplied by P1 by rho g, what we will get? G to g cancel, rho itself is mass upon volume, so we can cancel the mass also, ultimately we will get Vp1, and we have already derived that Pv is the work done, okay, and work done and energies dimensions are same, okay. So we will get Vp1. Similarly, when mg is multiplied by C1 square by 2g, what we will get? G to g cancel, mc1 square by 2, this corresponds to kinetic energy. Similarly, mg is multiplied with z1, then what we will get? Mg z1, this corresponds to potential energy, and same context is there over the RHS. So now energy is balanced by energy, okay. Now the question is that why we are omitting then mg? We are talking in terms of head only, we are not including this mg because mg is constant. I already told that when we apply Bernoulli's theorem, then mass flow rate remains constant and acceleration due to gravity is a natural constant, okay. So the deciding factor in regards of energy content of the fluid is actually the head. In case head is changing in the flow, then energy is changing. However, from inlet to exit, the total head remains constant, but between themselves, suppose I say that this is the kinetic head. In case kinetic head reduces, then out of the two or both of them, pressure head and datum head must increase. It's like this. They are compensating to each other. So like that way I am telling that the energy content of the flowing fluid, the mechanical energy content, is moreover dependent upon the head content, because when we are applying Bernoulli's theorem, then the mass flow rate remains constant and g remains constant. That's it. So this is what the significance of head is. So hope you would have understood that what is Bernoulli's theorem, how to derive the Bernoulli's equation, and what is the significance